This is going to be your guide to using Gouging Fire in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So I'm going to start this video off with a dive into Pokemon durability, because power creep isn't cool. And my initial reaction was 105, 121, 93 isn't cool on a Pokemon with 115 attack that also has the 91 on the speed creep. Oh, isn't that just fun? And then you don't see optimizations like this, where it's like, yeah, the Pokemon, its lowest stat that's not going to use, that's going to get minused by the nature, usually that's just wasted points. This doesn't really seem like wasted points. So we have like a Paradox Pokemon that has Ultra Beast optimization and just better stats than a pseudo-legendary. Okay, so Baxcalibur, 115, 92, 86. Okay, so this thing's like as durable as Baxcalibur, but also higher on the defense. Same thing for Garchomp, 108, 95, 85. Like, Garchomp is fair. At least you could hit it with a special attack, has that above average physical bulk, but then Gouging Fire says, nah, I'm just tankier. Okay, what about some other Paradox Pokemon? Because Iron Hands, this is a weird one. Like, is 154.68 the same or better as like 105.93, which means like Iron Hands is going to be more durable and more damage than the Gouging Fire, but no one's using Iron Hands. It turned out to not be good for some reason, unless it just didn't get the specialization it needs. Like, how is a 140 Pokemon that can just go like Terra-Fighting Drain Punch, heal back all the damage that it took, not good? The slow Pokemon succeed, so like the 50 speed ain't it, and then Gouging Fire is like, okay, so Gouging Fire is Iron Hands with 91 speed maybe. We'll find out. The reason why Damage Theory has used the Silvally analog is because you're not going to find 95 defense, 95 hit points on most sweeping Pokemon. So if you're trying to make like a fast sweeping threat and you're KOing that, you're KOing pretty much everything. And if you're getting a little bit of like overkill damage, then you're touching Garchomp as well. All is good in the world. But let's try to see like how this damage goes. Also, we'll reverse it. You know, you take some kind of damaging hit. It's not overwhelming, but still kind of strong. You know, 120 power on a 95 life orb. So something like that into Iron Hands. I'm going max special defense, max attack, because who cares about speed investment on this Pokemon? And the durability is about, you know, 50-ish%. Now for Gouging Fire, I'm going to max out the hit points. Again, just kind of see what's going on. Also, there might be like some kind of speed creep or speed tier or weirdness that goes on. But let's just kind of see like how the Pokemon stats add up to begin with. So let's change this 154 to 105. And yeah, we knew the defense was going to be higher, so it's about as much special defense. Yeah, so that's kind of crazy when now we actually have like the numbers to look at it. So 154.68 is the same as 105.93. Okay, noted. But then we're just like way fatter on that defense. So again, we've seen this where it's like it's a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Gouging Fire is effectively, like, from what we've seen, doesn't hit as hard, but is way harder to take down with physical attacks. That's fun and balanced. And then we see like just pure tank Pokemon. Garganasalt has no right having the 100 attack, but at least that hasn't been like, oh yeah, Banded wins too much, because you just get outsped. So even if you're 3-hit KO, your trading here is like, take a hit, hit the opponent. Take a hit, KO the opponent, get outsped, take a hit, you just 1 for 1. So like physical Garganasalt doesn't work because of the speed. But Gouging Fire has like as much defense as a Garganasalt. Excuse me? And then more special defense in the attack. Wait. That's not good. Also, it has photosynthesis. Now, the interesting thing about Garganasalt is Purifying Salt is one of the most busted, overtuned abilities, but the way that the meta has shifted in Generation 9 is like, status actually isn't that crazy. Status is too slow. There's no point in setting it up on a lot of Pokemon. Now, it is cool to not have to worry about a Spore or not worry about getting Toxic, and then if you go like Terra Ghost, you don't have a Ghost weakness, or if like an overwhelming Ghost-type Pokemon is trying to set up on you with Nasty Plot Shadow Ball, you kind of don't care on the Purifying Salt. Yeah, it's a busted ability, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like it activates that much. Photosynthesis, this is going to have doubles implications if you just like go for a Sunny Day team and then bust this thing out onto the field, and then Weather Wars become a thing again, and then who knows what's going on with Terapagos. But also like booster energy, let's see how this Pokemon's built for the booster energy. Look at that. Like the 91 speed wasn't even necessary. I was gonna wait, actually wait. Oh wait. It keeps resetting the IVs and something. Okay, so you will have to cut back on the attack. Never mind. Game Freak didn't piss me off too much here. if Game Freak did it to where it's like, oh, you have one more point of speed, that way you can go jolly and get the auto perfect stats on a photosynthesis, booster energy, but no. So you will have to like cut back a little, and then you're not a super powerful offensive threat at this point, but you're still like super durable, and then you outspeed everything. So that actually might be fine, where we're not in the one-shot damage theory, but this probably just two-shots everything. The damage calcs here get a little weird, so we have specs iron bundles, like 110 with the 124 special attack, doing all kinds of boosted damage, doesn't KO us. And then we have the outspeed because of the booster energy. So the nice thing here is, like, into sweeping matchups, it also just completely stuffs out a focus sash. So they hit you for 80%, you hit them back, or actually, no, you outspeed, so you hit them, they hit you for 80%, you hit them again, and that means we just need to find the 2-hit KO, and we don't get chumped on anything. Which means we need to dive into the moveset. So, Dragon Claw damage, whatever, crunch. We are Fire Dragon Pokemon, and Fire Dragon is a crazy type combination where it's like, okay, everything has Earthquake, so getting hit by that doesn't feel good. And I wonder, like, if that's why this thing has so much defense, because a non-stab Earthquake, you just survive it, and then your Paradox Pokemon, so that's cool, and then you have, like, Dragon Rock, so you just survive primarily physical hits pretty well. Flare Blitz, though, might be too much damage. You also have Heat Crash. Do we even have its stats? Cerebi has it, so the boy's kind of chonky on that almost 600 kilograms, and that means if we can get to this amount, we're doing 120 power. So I think we can plug that in, because Iron Bundle weighs nothing. Now, I'm using an Iron Hands reference, that's going to mess everything up, so we have to like manually set it. So let's go Heat Crash 120. Huh. I would expect more damage, but also 115 just kind of shows like, yeah, it's not damage, especially when not boosted. Which is why damage theory exists, to like find these numbers and get them into the right spot. So yeah, we are a 2, maybe even 3-hit KO in return. So if we're outspeeding and only taking 1 hit, we can go 1 for 1 plus. We can go 2 for 1 plus on the Gouging Fire, and then Heat Crash on 120. It's going to be enough to take it out. But that means we do need to find the damage on these Pokemon. Is it auto-setting the damage, though? But I guess it has the 120 because Iron Hands is just that much heavier than Iron Bundle. Okay. But then 80 power on the Dragon Claw stab shows that it's not enough damage. So it's like you either have to double Terra for the lower roll to then get the 2-hit KOs we're looking for, or things just get kind of weird. Now, Iron Bundle does have the 114 defense creep below hit points. So yeah, you like, if you can 2-hit it on a physical hit, you're probably doing all right. It's just got some like crazy stuff. So Heat Crash, that's just one of the options. We're looking at this, and that is where, yeah, like you either destroy yourself on a Flare Blitz, you have the Heat Crash, and then Fire Fang, stuff like that. And that's an issue that we see with the Paradox Pokemon, is that their moveset doesn't give them everything they need. So that's the balance. Like, you look at the stats, you look at the ability, and maybe even the typing or all these other interactions, like, that's not balanced. But then the moveset is like where it comes, oh, never mind, it gets Dragon Dance. Everything's thrown out the window. This is now the dumbest Pokemon in existence, and it might, like, Dragonite has been taking over the entire meta. It's been like top 3 or whatever on the Battle Stadium for the entirety of the generation, and then Game Freak decided, you know what we need to do? We need to go and introduce another Dragon Dance Pokemon that's even more optimized. Like, alright, so where are we at on bulky Dragon Dance? Well, Regidrago, 100 attack, that getting boosted's good, and it can be a durable Pokemon if you put into defenses, but it seems like the speed, the attack, and defenses are too low to, like, hyper-optimize it. But there still might be something there with the Regidrago, especially because the Dragon's Maw means you're getting free attack on top of free attack, so that's a thing. I'm trying to think about this on, like, Gouging Fire, where you have the most offensively bulky Dragon Dancing Pokemon that can perfectly utilize all of the stats. So, yeah, 105-71, Roaring Moon still can fold to a physical hit while it's setting up. Special defense, it's like barely any difference right there. And Roaring Moon is kind of mid, so Gouging Fire, I think, is the definition of power creep. Walking Wake also getting the Dragon Dance, but still kind of falling on the stats, also not as durable. Why is Gouging Fire so perfectly optimized? What are the stats on Mega Charizard? And I was thinking, well, the photosynthesis or the tough claws versus an item that's going to like trade. So 78, 111, 85. This thing's just the best. This thing's better than. You don't have to Mega. You just get Mega Charizard Dragon Dance for free, and you're tankier. Speed tiers are fun. You go Adamant, you go Dragon Dance, and you're faster than Timid Dragapult. It doesn't even have the Outspeed 2 tap, so that's unfortunate. Man, like, do you go Citrus Berry just to make it to where you have to this thing will be a 3-hit KO Pokemon, and then Dragon Claw just sounds terrible because like it's only 80 power, but then the +1 turns out the damage. Earthquake for coverage, and instead of Flare Blitz, like maybe it is the Heat Crash because you're so heavy that the matchups where Heat Crash isn't going to be enough damage, and even then, like there's still ways where it's 100%, or not 100%, 100 power damage, and then 80 is like a Fire Dragon Claw. But since fire damage or fire attacks have like a lot of crash, yeah, this is just your best straight up damage option. But anything that's gonna be heavy is like a Steel type Pokemon or a Rock type Pokemon, so you can Earthquake it anyways. And even some Dragon Pokemon are fat, but then you Dragon Claw for super effective. If you don't want to Heat Crash, it also has the Raging Fury, so Outrage for fire types. I mean, by that point, you're one-shotting everything on Outspeed. If something survives, you get chipped down. Yeah, you just kind of play it like the old school Dragon Dance, where it's like, yeah, Dragon Dance Outrage, and then I'm just coin flipping the rest of it, or hopefully not getting resisted. Now, Uno reversing onto Silvally shows that even the +1 Dragon Claw isn't one-shotting everything, because yeah, turns out 115 attack isn't that crazy. It just hits the optimizations, but that needs to go a little further. Even at +2, that's not KOing everything. I have Flare Blitz here, just kind of show like a 120 power hit. So if you have max Heat Crash +1 into most Pokemon, and like a frail sweeping Pokemon's going to take max damage anyways, and is going to be under 95, it's going to work. And then we can also look at just like the 100 power damage. So yeah, you actually need a little more to get over there. Do we use our bulk to go? I know Life Orb's fraudulent, guys. But like, if we go for our bulk and then go Life Orb, where it's like, okay, take a hit, Dragon Dance, and then like Life Orb one-shot everything until we go down to Recoil. That works in 3v3. That works on the Battle Stadium, where you can get those 3 hits, and then you take the last bit of Recoil on Life Orb and go down, but it doesn't matter because you won. And even at that point, Dragon Claw doesn't exactly get the damage, but I think it's enough. It's like, you don't have to KO Silvally to be strong. So we have Life Orb. Oh, that's a Light Ball. Oh, misclick. Life Orb, 8297. That's good. And of course, there is like the Quark Drive. So like Quark Drive attack on Booster Energy, because that's what our numbers look like now, since the attack is going to be higher. Like, Booster Energy is nice to have the Life Orb that doesn't drain you. And maybe on these stats, that's the better way to go, because it means you're not going to get chumped or take like another weird power creep hit. But it means you have to like commit. And that means Gouging Fire can't be a lead, so you can't, like, if the opponent tries to go for sub, like, turn 1 Stealth Rocks, well, you win the game because you get free Dragon Dance. So you don't have that opportunity, but if, like, the opponent's kind of chipped down, they're kind of weak, maybe they KO you, but it's with a Pokemon that just can't deal with Gouging Fire, then you just, like, revenge Gouging Fire with the Booster Energy, and that's like, the free win. So yeah, like, This has, like, that old-school Mega potential, because when you dial it back to Generation 6 and Mega Pokemon, the game just kind of boiled down to whoever's Mega got set up and then reversed the 6-0 sweep. That's how you play for win conditions back in the day. But for the time where Pokemon were generally weaker, did less damage, and took a bit more damage, yeah, that's how you kind of set up the win condition. You play Gouging Fire like a modern Mega Pokemon, which is also kind of tricky, because you gotta reset the brain over half a decade to tap into that energy again. You do that, and that's how you play the Gouging Fire. Now, the craziest thing that could happen is that someone switches in a singles Whimsicott and then hits you with the Prankster Encore, and it doesn't matter. Like, how schizophrenic anti-setup is Japan going to get on this one? Now, all of that, and we haven't even talked about Gouging Fire's signature move, Burning Bullwark. So it's Spiky Shield, but it burns the opponent if they make contact, which is huge. If you're going up, like, a physical attacker doesn't want to go up against Gouging Fire. A burned physical attacker just loses the game on the spot. Remember when King Shield was -2? This is a permanent -2 because of the burn, except on Fire-type Pokemon, but Fire-type doesn't want to match into a Fire Dragon Pokemon. So yeah, you can just do that to someone, and then they're also taking a little bit of chip damage, which helps out, and they just can't touch you. So I was also looking like the doubles potential for this Pokemon sounds just unplayable, where you have the Burning Bulwark, you have the Breaking Swipe, so you're not even there for damage, you're just there as like the most durably bulky Pokemon ever that can also just non-stop throw down like status and support. And you know what? Of course it gets the Morning Sun, so you have that extra just sustain. Like that, maybe it's, I don't know where to put this Pokemon. Is it the sweeper? Or do you actually just kind of ignore all sweeping and you go, yeah, Morning Sun, Burning Bulwark, the Breaking Swipe, like I said, that's more doubles tech, but like how do we make this work in singles? Where we put down the status, they can't touch us. Maybe that means Moringa Berry because we take a special hit, we heal it on Morning Sun, and now again, we're tankier than Garganasalt. We have the sustain, we don't have the bustedness of Salt Cure, but then we can just hit them. We have Roar, so we can stall break them, and then whatever else you want, I guess, at that point. Now, Burning Bulwark isn't going to work against all Pokemon, but it is nice, because if a physical Pokemon is faster than you and making contact, you just absorb the hit, and then the first time they hit you is going to be doing half damage on physical. Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. Lava Plume, not ideal, but it does have the 30% chance to burn. Also, that means you don't really care about doing damage, so this will be a setup that once entry hazards, I know I've said a million times, like, entry hazards are griefing and you lose the game on the spot, but if you can also, like, dedicate to playing around it, where, yeah, if a Hippowdon gets set up, and then just, like, roars your entire team, or whirlwinds your entire team through a Stealth Rocks, and then you get, like, 10 applications of Stealth Rocks, that's going to be strong. Same thing, where, like, the opponent's burn, they're trying to switch, and then they just, like, keep taking, you know, 15% on a crunch, they switch, they take another 1/8 from the Stealth Rocks, they get roared out. You're a 4-hit KO Pokemon with, like, Moringa Berry set up, I guess. Especially if the opponent's burn. They just Morning Sun, and, like, this is the ultimate stall Pokemon. And it could be the optimal way of playing Gouging Fire. I have Crunch here, not as much for, like, the 20% chance to lower defense, as it is that it's just reliable damage that will hit everything. But if you have Fire, then, like, Earthquake, or yeah, like Lava Plume, Earthquake here. It's mostly just like, oh, if you only have Lava Plume and they bring a Heatran, and then you lose on Flash Fire, that's not cool. But then Earthquake, that kind of makes up for it. Dragonite kind of gets a problem if, like, the opposing Pokemon's last Pokemon is a Dragonite. You're just kind of in the Infinity Stall, because Lava Plume will eventually burn them. They can't hurt you, but you can't roar them through anything. And then you don't have, like, extra damage on top of it, so that's why it's like, yeah, Crunch reliably hits everything. But if Fire Pokemon's resisting, Earthquake really speeds up a lot of the damage. The problem with Gouging Fire is that its stats are so everything, and its moveset also gives it the potential to just, like, go for hard sweeping, or be one of the nastiest tank Pokemon. Like, this is just, is this better Crocoon? Let's see. Oh, also Suicune's back in, so maybe we can compare stats. 100, 115, 115. So, you take less physical damage than Suicune, and then you also effectively have, like, Scald shenanigans, and then not as much on the special defense, but you bake in the Moringa Berry instead of, like, a Leftovers or something, and then you don't have to rest to heal. And then you just kind of, like, chip the opponent down and perma-stall them. As for Terra, well, on this, I don't know what, like, your best Terra option. Like, you go Terra Flying, but then you also open up into having some other weaknesses. Fire Dragon is so good. This could just be, like, a Pokemon where it's like, he's too reliable. I don't need to Terra into anything. So Gouging Fire lets you save a Terra slot, which is really valuable. Also, it might be good to just not have Terra as an option, because then you could misplay, where it's like, okay, I'm going to Terra into my super secret 1% win condition of Bug to absorb the Earthquake, and then they now hit you with, like, a Fire-type move. And it's like, oh, no, I can't take 2 Flare Blitzes, or something like that, you know? Why does it also get Fire Spin? So if you need the damage over time, and if you don't see, like, Flash Fire or anything that's going to absorb a Fire-type move, that could also be a thing. Lava Plume, again, that's preference. You can still have Burning Bulwark here, but you can't burn an Earthquake. So there's a couple different ways of running the stall Gouging Fire as well. This thing is just going to be impossible to break. Actually, no, that means you do want the either Terra Flying or Terra Ghost, depending on, like, what becomes common. Like, Terra Ghost means no Guillotine. No Horn Drill from the Excadrill. Actually just have the Terra Ghost, because I feel like that's going to be the only thing that can beat this is, like, Horn Drill, Excadrill, or any kind of like Oko Pokemon. But like if you negate the Oko that they have, and then it just comes down to like if Fissure lands, this is actually it. Also in doubles, this thing gets Noble Roar and Snarl. So Noble Roar, full tank, and then you can just use heal whenever you want, and if you feel an attack's coming, you can outplay them on the Burning Bulwark or not. And then you just make it to where the opponent is always playing 30% damage down or more as it keeps on stacking. Yeah. So this thing is just going to be completely ugly, and we got some wild ways of playing it. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.